Hey guys, welcome to my channel. As you guys can see from the title, this video is just going to be kind of sharing with you guys what has a big life change that has recently happened in my life. I do want to preface this video saying that this video is not going to be negative or crapping on the company that I just came from. It's just going to talk about a few things that I have realized about myself and a few things that I went through while working. So if you guys are interested, feel free to keep watching. If you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell because it will notify you whenever I upload. Okay guys, so big thing is, I know most people are like, I've only shared it with a few people. I've kind of shared it on my personal Facebook, but not really on Instagram, which most of you guys are from. But if you didn't already know by the title, I quit my job. I am 26 and I just realized that the stress that I was under and the stress that I was putting on myself was just too much. I was afraid of possibly not necessarily having a heart attack or a stroke. I just knew that my daily lifestyle was not healthy, and so I needed to get myself out of that. I found a job through a mutual friend. When I was transitioning and when I put my 2 weeks notice in, it was very rough. It was very disheartening for me because I didn't want to let anybody down at my old job, and I didn't want to make it seem like I was ungrateful. Big thing that I wanted to touch in this video is the thoughts that we can convince ourselves. Like, the thoughts that we put in our mind sometimes are not always positive and negative, and it can bear on our bodies. When I received the job offer from the job that I'm at currently, I felt like crap. I felt like I was, when I knew when I went in, I felt like I was going to disappoint my boss, disappoint my coworkers. I immediately forgot about the stress that I was under. I started thinking about other people. I just didn't want them to think that I was unappreciative, if that makes sense. I didn't want them to feel like I was ungrateful, and that's not the case. I just kept feeling that wasn't a proper thought, and in turn I put more stress on myself trying to leave. So if you guys are ever just thinking about transitioning, and if you're thinking about leaving a job, just know that at the end of the day, you have to think of yourself. Even if your work family or your co-workers aren't as supportive as mine were, you still have to just take that leap. One of my co-workers had told me that, Kenny, you have to do what you have to do. You have to be happy. You can't force yourself to like this job. And once I heard those words, honestly, that is what helped me make the decision to keep going, because I actually took the job offer of where I'm at now, and I thought about actually just kind of calling them back saying, no, I won't do that. So it is nice to, I would just say, maybe talk to people that are supportive in your transition. If you talk to people that want you to stay and that just don't want you to, they don't see where your stress is coming from or why you want to leave, then it's going to be hard for you to transition. So before I quit, during my, I think I put like, it was a 2 weeks notice, but I worked for a whole month. Before I quit, I felt like, before I put my 2 weeks notice in, I felt like my worth wasn't valued. I felt like people thought I was crazy because I was so passionate about my job and passionate about what I was supposed to be doing. So I felt like nobody really cared. Of course, I knew my coworkers cared about me, but I just didn't really feel like I just didn't feel appreciated like I wanted to be, if that makes sense. And so when I put my 2 weeks notice in, I noticed that, like, I got text messages saying, hey, we appreciate you, hey, this and that. So one thing that I probably would have learned from that situation is that maybe if I would have opened myself up and told them my frustrations from the get-go, I probably would have got the validation that I needed. So that is one thing. If you are struggling at a job because you don't feel like you're receiving validation, some people just don't know how to give validation and give you a pat on the back, and so you have to tell them. So I think maybe if I would have opened my mouth and been a little bit more vocal versus complaining, because that is two different things. I used to complain a lot. I used to say I hate it here, or this sucks, and this and stuff like that, and so people won't take you serious if you're complaining. But if you actually sit down and look somebody in the eye and say that, hey, this is where these are my concerns, this is what's causing me to leave, then they may actually change, if that makes sense. So major things that I learned, or two things that I learned before I left, was that my coworkers do care about me, because I just kind of got an outpour, more from management, an outpour of appreciation, and that's what I needed like all along. And then I also realized that there is a major difference between complaining and sharing your concerns professionally. Then I also realized that I shouldn't wait till the last minute to try to resolve things. I probably would say 6 months to 8 months before I transitioned from my last job is when I realized that it was starting to become too much, or realized I was trying to find an exit. Meanwhile, I keep telling you guys, I never really thought that I would find an exit. I just knew that I wasn't happy. And so I think that if I would have maybe mentioned that, or if I would have expressed myself a little bit more, one thing that I thought was that, yes, I am important, but I'm not important enough to change things for. And so if you're feeling like that, don't ever feel like that. No matter if you're a peon, a manager, a CEO, don't ever feel like you as a person, you're not enough to change things for. I thought that, you know, that it just, I don't know, I just thought that it wasn't that big of a deal if they lost me, or it wouldn't be that big of a deal if I left, and it seemed as if it was. I'm not sure if it exactly was, but I just wish I would have said something earlier, because we probably would have addressed all the issues that I had, and then we probably would be happy. But that's here or there, you never know. So one thing that I appreciated before leaving is that I got to talk to 2 pharmacists that were really in my corner, and they just kind of put it in perspective of, you know, if you're leaving, you have to realize that, one, you have to do it for yourself. You can't stay because of us. You can't stay, or you can't leave because of another reason. You have to do whatever decision you're going to make, you have to do it for you. So that really helped me, because that was the first time in a while that I kind of put myself first. Another thing is that I was told, if you're leaving because of stress, you have to realize that the stress is going to follow you. You will find something to fill that hole. And so I was told to start maybe trying to go to therapy, or talking to somebody, or you listening to podcasts, motivational music, all that type of stuff, reading, just kind of clearing my mind and allowing myself to detach from work when I'm not at work. And so since then, I've been doing that. I've picked up on podcasts on my drive to work now. I usually don't really listen to music. I usually call my family, but instead of doing that now, I spend that time for myself, because before I would drive to work thinking about what I need to do when I got to work. On my way home, I would think about what I need to do tomorrow. When I got home, I would have to take care of the house, so I would never really have time for myself. And so getting that piece of advice to take time for yourself and to think about yourself really helped me. And what's crazy is I stopped working that job June 28th, and today is like August something. It's like the end of August right now, and when I tell you guys, I'm a completely different person. Like, I feel like I don't even feel like, I used to feel so tight in my neck. I used to feel tight on my shoulders. I feel so much better. So big thing that I took away from those conversations was to take care of myself, and to remember, you know, that I'm valued, but I have to value myself at the same time. So if you guys are in that same boat, just remember that, and maybe try to take a little bit more self-care. Major thing is that the grass isn't always greener. Yes, my stress went down, but I stepped down from a leadership position. I had to basically start over. I had to reacquaint myself with people. I lost all the customers that I had before. I lost like moving up the ladder. Like I lost so much when it comes to a career improvement and opportunities. And I thought, you know, it's kind of like the whole you take and you give type thing. But instead of me allowing that to stress me out, I was like, you know, that's fine. I just weighed the pros and the cons, and I allowed myself to understand that, hey, this is okay. I will say, I'm not gonna even lie, the first 4 weeks of my new job was very, very rough. I missed my work, I missed my coworkers, I missed my customers. I just missed everything about it. So transitioning was very hard for me. So next thing that I learned is that no matter how important you are or how unimportant you feel, the company will still move on. Coworkers will still move on. Things will still move on no matter how you feel. So that's just like in everyday life. If you feel stuck and if you feel like you can't get yourself together, the best thing to do is to focus on yourself and to worry about yourself, because everybody's still moving. You know, I was kind of in a lull on my last few days, and I was like, why isn't everybody doing this for me? Why isn't everybody like this and that? And it's not that they didn't want to, or it's not that they didn't care, but it's because they had to keep moving. Who cares if I'm leaving? Like, they have to keep moving and doing the daily operations. So just remember that the world still moves around you, no matter what decision you make. So if you do decide to stay, they'll move with you. If you do decide to leave, they'll move without you. And that's what I had to learn. But instead of looking at it negatively, I looked at it as, okay, that's okay. They're moving on. I have to move on. That makes sense. To kind of wrap this up and just kind of tell you guys everything that I've learned about leaving my job, major thing is that I realized that I really look for validation. That is probably where my stress stemmed from. I'm a firm believer that self-reflection is going to be it's just good for you. And during the self-reflection times that I've had, I've realized, where has my stress stemmed from? Is it my coworkers? Is it my job? Is it the company that I work for? And it was actually no to all those. It was the fact that I seeked validation from people. So it either made me work very, very hard and not allowed me to turn my mind off. Now that I realize validation is one of the things that I'm seeking from people, I work on that on myself. So instead of, like in my new job, instead of looking for a pat on my back, which they're pretty good at it, but it's because I'm new, instead of looking for a pat on my back, now on Sundays when I do my self-care, I look back at my week and I'm like, okay, Kenyana, you did good Tuesday. You stuck to your diet, or you ran, or you did what you said you were going to do. So congratulations. So instead of allowing myself to get back in that same loop, now I'm focusing on how I can help myself and prevent myself from being there. So for anybody that is looking at possibly leaving their job or transitioning to another lifestyle, I wanted to give you a few tips. First tip, don't think that you're never not important. Even though people may not say it, you are valuable. No matter what position you play, you're appreciated. And if you feel like you need that appreciation explained to you vocally, tell people that it's not vain for you to get appreciation or validation verbally expressed to you. I used to think that that was the case, and that's the reason, that's why I'm in the place that I'm in. So don't make the same mistake as me. Just understand that you are very important. Also, when you are changing jobs, look into the benefits. No matter how less stressful it is, look into, does this company provide me the same benefits as far as health and all that stuff? Look into that, because I know I didn't really look into that, and there are some things that I wish I would have looked into, but I was in such a mental crappy headspace that I really didn't even worry about that. So I would definitely, if you're not in like a stressful situation or you're just quitting your job because you're wanting to move or something like that, make sure you look into the benefits and compare them. Last things that I wanted to mention is take some time to self-reflect. Look at what caused your stressors or your struggles in your last job. Look at what you could change. Unfortunately, yes, we could say it's our boss, it's our job, it's our co-workers, but at the end of the day, we put ourselves in situations. So what can we change to do better? Lastly, I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching this video. I'm so glad that you guys are supporting me. I am so happy now, but it's because I've been spending a lot of time with myself and not worried about making money. I hope you guys support me in my endeavors. I don't know if you guys have noticed, I've been trying to focus on YouTube, and then I possibly have a blog coming at the end of the year. I'm really excited to branch myself out and brand myself, but I need you guys' support. So if you guys don't mind, share this with a friend, and if you got something from these videos, leave them down below. One thing I will let you guys know, I do want to give you content that you want to see, but at the same time, I feel like there are some gems that I've learned in my life that I would like to share with you guys. So even though this video may not pertain to you, I hope that you learned something, and that I hope that the next time you have to transition from a job or a lifestyle or something, I hope that it's a little bit easier than what I had to go through. I just wanted to say, if any of my co-workers are watching this, I want to let you guys know I appreciate you guys so much. Even if I might have not said it, or if I might not have acted like that, I've always appreciated the part that you've played in my life. So I just want you guys to know that I appreciate y'all, and you guys will forever be in my heart. But other than that, this is the end of the video, guys. I hope that you guys learned something, and even if you didn't, I was so happy to share a piece of my heart. But let's go ahead and log out. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm out.